Hi, my name is Aaron Mann. I'm the Chief Strategist for SocialArc, and today we're going to walk through the process of social data activation. Let's start with defining what social data activation is. First, it uses big data to understand social content and your social audience. Social audience by segment is usually a big missing piece of how we look at social performance today. Second, we want to interpret that data in a way to make it immediately informative and actionable. Social data activation is part of an integrated data implementation strategy. We look at 4 essential building blocks that go from content through complete integration of social data into all of your marketing efforts. Today, we're going to focus on the first 3. Together, they make up social data activation. Let's look at an example of social data activation in action. Imagine you're a large consumer electronics company. You've got 3 million Facebook fans, 37,000 Twitter followers, and over 2 million YouTube views. Only 200,000 of them are organic. You spend significantly to support social efforts. How can we build a marketing framework that uses social data to develop a strategy to guide your resource allocations and drive business results? First, we need to start with knowing our content by looking at our content mix and, more importantly, how my audience is engaging with that content. In our example, from an engagement standpoint, we can see that our brand messaging is getting lost in discounts and promotional content. We want to be talking about our product, and we're allocating a good part of our content mix to features and benefits, but that's not the content that our audience cares about. So let's find out more about that audience. This is critically important, and it's often the most overlooked part of a social strategy. The first thing we want to do is look at today's audience to understand who they are by segment and how they are represented across my social platforms. You can see in our example that we have 3 main segments that are statistically differentiated from each other. Across our platforms, deal seekers and sweepstakers make up a disproportionate amount of the people that are both our audience by size and the people that are engaging. Now we want to deep dive into each segment. We really want to understand the characteristics of these segments so that we can understand a lot more about the people in them and ultimately how valuable they are to me as a brand. This is where the social data gets really big. For every 1,000 profiles we can look at, we have over 10 million data points to work with. We use the deep data to look at relevant dimensions, including demographics, network influence, content consumption, and other brand relationships. Now that I know a lot about who my social audience is today, I need to understand how valuable are these segments to my business, and am I missing any key segments? In our example, 2 segments that are really important to my brand are either underrepresented or not really in my social mix at all. Now that I know my social audience by segment and by segment business value, I can make the right choices on where to take action. I'll ignore sweepstakers, I'll feed deal seekers, and I'll develop my 2 most valuable segments, in this case, oversharing techies and technology adopters. From here, we want to build an actionable marketing strategy where we take the data and our audience insights to pinpoint where and how we should be spending resources. This work can take many directions with a number of client-specific frameworks used. We'll take a look at 2 that we use often. One grounding element is mapping a user journey for each segment. The journeys all look different depending on the segment characteristics. Our oversharing techies take a very different path than our deal seekers. Since the journeys are different, the key lifecycle engagement opportunities are also different. For each audience segment profile, we develop the key messaging touchpoints, and because we know a lot about each segment from our data insights work, we can identify the most important emotional and rational levers in that journey. Another key output is a briefing framework, built on the data-driven insights work. This is designed to empower teams and partners by giving them a clear and actionable brief. We look at each segment, along with their characteristics, grounded in our audience data work. We look at what content works best, based on what they engage with, and where we want to be touching them on the user journey. And we develop a resource allocation that makes sense given our brand goals. In our example, we want to adjust our content allocation to better target our high-value segments, and we want to grow our audience the right way, focused on the segments that matter. Finally, we want to have a measurement and optimization plan that tells us, as we move forward, are we doing the right job? In other words, we know where we are now, we know where we want to go, and we need to make sure that we are course correcting along the way to make sure we get there. All of this lives as part of a cohesive social data strategy. You may not tackle all of it at once, but it's important to have a roadmap. We start with data and insights, then we interpret the data and develop a strategy to make it actionable in the context of your brand. Finally, and the part we didn't cover today, is bringing all this data into my 360-degree customer lifecycle experience. We hope you found this presentation thought-provoking and informative. We'd love to talk to you about social data and how it can help give your brand a significant competitive edge. Thank you.